So we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it may be when you guys are tuning into this broadcast. I am your international award-winning author, literary extraordinaire, and awe-inspiring coach, Toneal M. Jackson. And I want to welcome you guys to another episode of Inspirational Talk with Toneal. However, this is the Powerful Black Man's edition. And so I am so honored to have my guest with me. I want to say we've known each other for at least 5 or 6 years, and we are both in the literary industry. And so I'm so proud of all the wonderful things that he is doing. He too is one who is debunking the myth that not all Black men are doing something negative. Not all Black men are on the corner selling drugs, but there are many Black and powerful men who are doing positive things in and for our community. And so please help me welcome my guest, Mr. Darryl Harvey. Hey, Darryl, how are you?
Hey, hello everyone. Very
Thank
glad to be here.
I appreciate you for coming on today. I know that you probably have a lot of other stuff that you could be doing. And so thank you so much for availing yourself for this. And as you guys are coming on, whether you come on Facebook or YouTube, please feel free to hit the share button. Feel free to tag somebody that you believe would benefit from this broadcast. Hello, Ms. Barner. So for those people who have been under a rock and have no idea who you are, why don't you give them a little more of an introduction of yourself?
Okay, my name is Darryl Harvey, born and raised in Chicago. Went to Northern Illinois University and studied journalism. Began writing as a poet many years ago. And while writing as a poet, I worked in social services. And while working in social services, of course, Daryl loved the kids. So, so I was mentoring a young man, a very young boy who everyone in his life was a female. And so he lived in a home with his mom and a sister. His babysitter was a female and his teacher was a female. And I was asked to spend some time with him to give him a male role model. So in as my time with him was coming to an end, I was inspired to give him something to remember me by. And so through that interaction, I wrote my first children's book,
Oh,
which was meant for that young boy. But, at the time that I wrote it, I really didn't think a whole lot about it. I thought, well, this is a nice present for this kid.
mhm.
But you can't really go to print with just one book. So I went to print and I printed more books, and people enjoyed it. And so that turned me into not just a poet, but a children's author as well. And so through that experience, now that was several years ago, and I've just published my seventh children's book.
Wow, that is incredible. Like, I never knew that story. We all, like all of us that do whatever it is that we do, whether it's an author, entrepreneur, you have your own business, we all have a why. And I just think that that is so incredible that that's what got you started because, a lot of times in this life, as you just said, having the young man who had no male role models, it's kind of hard to navigate through life. And so the fact that you took the time to avail yourself to him, and not just to him, but in creating that book, as you said, there were other people who were like, oh, wow, this is great. So, like being an author, what have you found thus far to be the most rewarding part of that journey?
Oh man. So again, I write two genres, poetry and for children's. And I think on the poetry side, I'm kind of allowed to be as creative as I want to be. I write romantic, erotic, and political poetry. So I can go all over the world kind of, with what I write as far as poetry. So I enjoy being allowed that freedom. As far as children's books are concerned, oh man, that has been so rewarding for me. Because there are some events that I go to every year now, and I have, I don't even want to say this, but kind of sort of fans, people who have been
Yeah.
reading each one of my books. And I had just this past year at the Printers Row Book Fair, my group, the Chicago Black Authors Network, goes there every year. And I've had a couple of young boys say, "We only came here." Now, this is an event that
Yeah.
has hundreds of writers and thousands of attendees. And these two brothers said, "We only came here just to see what new book that you have."
Wow. Wow. That, you know what, that hits totally different. Because let me, okay, so you were being kind of modest. I don't know why you were like saying, well, because I don't know if I should call them fans. Yes, absolutely, whether you want to call them fans, supporters, whatever, because I know a couple of events that we typically see each other at is Black Women's Expo here in Chicago, and then
Mhm,
Indiana Black Expo in
mhm.
Indianapolis. But like you said, you have Printers Row. And for people who have never been to Printers Row, because he's being kind of modest, so let me say it since he's my guest. So like, so let me get you to understand. So the difference really between like a printer's row and say the two that I mentioned earlier. So Black Women's Expo, Indiana Black Expo versus Printers Row. Printers Row is books only. So like
Yeah.
you have these other two expos where you might have, like a lot of different celebrities from different industries. You have people selling all types of products. So you'll have a lot of these t-shirts and the ladies that walk around with the sparkling lips, and you have the hair stuff going on. You have all of these similar. So you have, it's all over the place with Black Women's Expo, Indiana Black Expo. But for Printers Row, it's only books. Okay,
Mm.
so it's in downtown Chicago. It goes about, I want to say it's go from like Congress to Harrison, or maybe one other block. It's like 2 blocks north south, and then about 4 blocks east and west. So this is like a really big deal in Chicago. And you have canopies everywhere. You have the tents. Hey, Miss Beatrice, you have the tents everywhere. You got some people that just tuck away and have a table on the sidewalk, so you literally have hundreds of authors set up everywhere. So the fact that they would come to an event of this nature just to get your book, like, that's what's up. Like, that is kudos to you. How did that make you feel? Like, and don't stop being modest. Like, just for real. How did that make you feel to hear them say that?
You know what, man? A lot of times in this thing that independent authors do, you don't really hear that kind of thing, that kind of appreciation that often. And that really touched me and made me feel really, really good.
Mhm.
Just this year as well, I was at the Black Women's Expo in Chicago, and a young lady walked by my table and was like, "I know this book." She was the book that I was just talking about for the young man that I wrote, and she was like, "My son learned how to read reading your book."
Oh my, you trying to make me cry. Like, I am trying to hold back the tears and keep the little makeup going, but you about to make me cry. Are you freaking kidding me?
I'm totally serious.
Oh my
I'm
God.
totally serious. Yeah. So those kinds of um, incidents that happen make me think that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing,
Absolutely.
and that I need to go harder and go farther because I'm not finished yet.
Absolutely. Like, and people don't understand that. First of all, if you're just coming on, I'm talking to Darryl Harvey, who serves in a variety of capacities, but right now we're just talking about him as he serves as an author. And many times people don't understand the reward in and of itself, beyond whether or not you're best-selling or award winning, the reward just in being able to come face to face with the people who read your books, the reward that it is in knowing the impact that your words are able to make, and that beyond you. So 20, 50, 100 years from now, when we can't physically see you, that your books and your words will live on. So like, are you ecstatic, or whatever word you want to use, because you're more so chill than I am. So like, how does it make you feel knowing that this is kind of like your legacy?
Oh, man. um, you know, in the beginnings of a work of a piece, um, that kind of is all that I could think about is trying to formulate and put this piece together and make it as perfect for whoever might happen to read it. Um, like for instance, a book for children. I think that I I'm writing for a need that I see.
Mhm.
I see kids needing a specific thing, and so I try to put it together as best as I think that they have not received it yet. And
Mhm.
so when I finish with that, I'm very happy. I'm proud that I did that. But then again, I'm looking for how can I make this bigger and better for more people. So
Mhm.
that's the feeling that I have. I'm working now to make what I'm doing bigger and better for more people, not just a few.
That's awesome. That's because at the end of the day, we all have a calling and we all have a purpose, right? For some people, the assignment might just be the one person, right? It might just, for
Mhm.
some people, it may have just been that young boy. But then there are others, as you're saying, where you know what, I've seen what I can do. So now let me go back and perfect the gift, not get complacent in what it is that I know I can do, but let me challenge myself to higher heights and deeper depths. And so, like, totally kudos to you for that. Go ahead. What you were about to say?
I was about to say exactly that. It is right now for me. It's the challenge of making it bigger and better. I'm challenging myself now to take what I've been doing with the Black Child Book Fair, um, and take it from where it is to make it as big as it can be. I have goals that I've set for 2022. I've already more or less met the ones for 2021. So now I'm pushing them farther for 2022.
Awesome. Well, I am going to pause you right there because we're going to actually talk about the Black Child Book Fair. But what I want to do is first give you an opportunity. Do you have, if people want to connect with you, whether it was for this or for what we're going to discuss with C-Band, the Black Child Book Fair, how can they get in touch with you?
I'm very easy to find. Um, my personal email, I guess, is Darryl Harvey author at yahoo.com. And as a matter of fact, Darryl Harvey author is how you find me on Facebook. And Instagram is Black Child Book Fair. And I just realized that I didn't plug in my laptop. So I need like 5 seconds to grab the plug.
Got you. Got you. Go ahead and talk. Go ahead and do what you do, and I'm going to talk.
Uh,
So, for you guys who are just now tuning in, my guest is, not only is he an author of several books, but he is also the president of Chicago Black Authors Network, which we're going to discuss next. He's also the founder of Black Child Book Fair, which we will also discuss. Hey, Miss Eva, that is the godmother right there. So, hello to Miss Eva. Hey, Marquita, Beatrice Barner, everybody who's tuning in. Please feel free to say hello. Let us know that you guys are watching. And then, if you have any questions for Darryl, and I put his contact information on the screen so that if you want to get in touch with him on Instagram, you can find him at Black Child Book Fair. And then he also gave his his email address if you want to contact him, or if you want to friend him and connect with him on Facebook, it is going to be his name, Darryl Harvey, author. So you guys can connect with him there as well. And so, Darryl, now that you're back, what we want to do is go to the next hat that you wear. So you are an author and you're doing all of these awesome things, and then you're like, you know what? I'm not just gonna keep this in for myself. Let me create what we know as CBAN, but it's formerly Chicago Black Authors Network. When did that start? What prompted it? Give us all the backstory about CBAN.
Oh my God. Okay, so many years ago, um, I self-published my first book, which was a book of poetry, and of course, being out here, especially this was quite a while ago. Um, you, as somebody that's new to the game, green to the game, you don't know a lot. You don't know a lot at all,
No, I know.
and so you don't know where to go to what printer to go to. You don't know um, how to get your book cover
You
design.
don't know nothing. You
You
don't
don't
know
know
nothing.
nothing.
You just know you want to write a book.
Right. And so, you as somebody who finally, okay, I get to a printer and I get it printed and all this other stuff, then there comes the real task of selling your book.
Mhm.
And of course, again, I don't know anything at this point. So I just thought way back when there ought to be someone, or that's kind of a mentor to independent authors.
Mhm.
And I was looking and looking for someone to try to connect with and see about trying to put a group together. And then I kind of sort of found somebody who was putting a group together, and that group imploded after the first meeting.
Wow. Oh,
And I
wow.
was like, wow, that sucked.
Right?
But I realized that it was still a good idea. It
Mhm.
was still a
Mhm.
good idea, and I know that I didn't know everything. It's my first book. I don't know nothing.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I got a group of people together, and we became the Chicago Black Authors Network. And largely, what we do is we get together and on a monthly basis, and we share resources. We talk about what's a good idea for a new author or even an older author. What's good, what's bad. We talk about technology, all the different platforms of social media, what you should be using, what's not good to use. Events, definitely. We talk about events. What's a good event to go to? What's a waste of your time?
We're not gonna even say that out loud, but keep, because it's a whole lot of them out here. But we're gonna let that go. Go ahead.
Exactly. What where places to avoid, what organizations to avoid, all of that good stuff. And we talk about that stuff every meeting, and we plan as a group the different events that we're going to attend as a group. And again, what's a good idea, what's not a good idea, what's good for your money, what's good for your exposure. We talk about all that stuff. And of course, we hit large events like as a group we go to the Black Women or the Black Expo in Indianapolis. And
Mhm.
man, we were really disappointed that that didn't happen, the way that it should this
Yes.
past year.
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
great event to go to.
Man,
Yeah.
Daryl, hold on, because I was trying. Because let me tell you something. As an author, and entrepreneur, it is not easy to find satisfactory events to attend, right? And when I say that, what I mean is for the money they're asking for what it is you have to give, that is going to be well worth it. So there are many events that you can go just for the sake of saying that you went, but you're really going to come in upside down. Like, so once you come back out of it, you done threw all this money away and you're no better for it. Like, you don't have any more connections, you haven't sold anything, you haven't gotten any exposure. But then you have Indiana Black Expo. And like you said, that, because I think I've been going for at least 7 to 8 years, and you've probably been going about the same. Like,
Mhm.
that event brings people together from literally all over the country. You have all, and it's not just authors, and that's the thing. Like, you have all types of people coming together to network. And so when COVID hit, so last year we were not able to do it in 2020, and then even with 2021, they were like, well, we're not doing it on the level that we used to do it. And
Right.
so if they were to do it in 2022, are you back there?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
No hesitation.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And so I'm glad to hear you talk not just about this, but also your network C-band. And I want to stop and let people know, because people might be like, you know what, well, doesn't he do the exact same thing that you guys do at APS? And the fact of the matter is, we're kind of similar, but the great thing is that you never have to compete, right? Because it's so many of us that's out here. And I think that your heart is very similar to mine, in that we just want to be able to help other indies to not have to go through the same things that we did, right? Like, there's always going to be new authors born every day. And I think that it's important to note that it is room enough for all of us. Like, I've been to a couple C-band meetings. When you did your events, I came to support. When I do my galas, you come to support. So I think that it's very important for us to say out loud, being the presidents and the heads of these organizations, that we're not competing with each other. Like, we are definitely there supporting each other. So it's important for you guys to understand that you don't have to come out here being all grimy, trying to be cutthroat, undercut folk, and I'm just trying to get it all for me. Like, you can literally network with other people who are doing exactly what you're doing and still be able to go further and do what it is that you're trying to do. Hey, Miss Kanita, go ahead, Darryl. Go ahead and say what you're about to say.
No, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I take my hat off to you and give you all the
You gonna
accolades,
stop
because
it?
I couldn't do the things that you do. You're amazing.
Oh,
You're
you
amazing.
gotta stop it. Told you, makeup. You're not gonna make me cry. I'm trying to keep the glasses on. So okay,
Yeah.
so
But yeah, that's what the Chicago Black Authors Network does. And we continue to um, have our arms open for new authors or even old authors, anybody that's serious about their craft, and whatever we can teach, because on occasions we do writing workshops, and we talk about first of all, of course, writing, and we talk about marketing, and we talk about social media, etc. Ways to get yourself out there and to make your writing career better than what it is now.
how important do you feel that social media is to the success of an independent author?
Oh man, it's 100% necessary now. Social media is, if you use it correctly, social media is an essential tool in your marketing and promotion. Uh, that in that manner, you reach out to people, and you're able to reach out to people in different cities and states that would otherwise have not known anything about you.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I'll give you for instance, speaking of Indianapolis, when I did the Black Child Book Fair in Indianapolis, I more or less depended totally on social media and Facebook, as a matter of fact. And I sent an announcement out there and was lucky enough to have other people forward that announcement. And man, it was it was large. It was really
Mhm.
large for whatever reason. That city really looks out for reading and education, and so they take your what you doing what, and man, everybody's talking about it, everybody's forwarding it, and I couldn't believe it, and I will definitely use it again.
Have you found, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Every event, make sure that I primarily use Facebook, but I've grown to use Instagram as well. It doesn't do as well for me, I guess, at least not yet. But I still use Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah. 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 Like I tell authors all the time, and matter of fact, not just authors, but entrepreneurs holistically, like you don't have to master every social media platform, but you need to find one. Like get you one that you are going to be committed to and make sure that you establish your presence on there. So whether it be, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, what is it, TikTok now, Clubhouse, like you don't have to be overwhelmed and trying to live on each of these platforms, but definitely find you a presence and find your place and make sure you master that. So, hello, Miss Celestine. If you guys have any questions for Darryl, feel free to put them in the comment section. But we are talking to him today about a variety of things. For those of you who may just be tuning in, you'll want to be kind and rewind on the once we're done and then check out what he had to say about being an author in the first half. And then we've been talking about him and being the founder of Chicago Black Authors Network. But it was something that you were saying, and I want to, oh, like with social media, a lot of, do you feel as though that sometimes you have more of a tribe or more supporters virtually than you do like in person and in real life?
Hmm. Um, yeah, yeah. You get people who are always going to give you likes. Yeah, but everyone doesn't show up to an event as you would hope that they do. I mean, that's just the facts. Who knows? They can't make it for whatever reason or another. But virtually, yeah, you get more support. You get a lot of support that way.
And you know what? And I think it's important to also kind of tag onto what you're saying, where you guys understand the role that social media plays, right? So we are not saying to not develop or to stop developing relationships in real life. So you still need to actually know people wherever it is that you go, but also understand that social media can help play its part. So as Darryl was saying before, he would put up the announcements and people would share them, would put them, places. So like instead of having to hire a marketing team, it's almost like they became that for him. So it's helping to spread the word. But at the end of the day, we still need y'all to show up at the real event, right? Like we still
Right.
need you to come wherever it is that we are. And for me, I know I always say with social media, I love it because it you almost develop this tribe or family almost, right? Where for me, it would be times where if I wasn't going live, people would come and hit me in the inbox. Everything okay? Where you been? What's going on? You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like people become dependent upon you and you become dependent on one another. And so like there are so many ways, and if nothing else, COVID taught us that you should still be able to have a way to thrive virtually, like just in case you can't make it. And I want to say, didn't you do your Black Child Book Fair? Was that last year that you did it,
Um,
or are you doing it this year? I know that I seen something about it
in
recently.
Chicago.
No, period. Just the fact of you doing the Black Child Book Fair. Were you
Oh
still
yeah.
doing it last year?
So in 2021, we have done 6 cities so
Wow.
far. We have
Wow.
2 more left to go in this
Oh,
year.
wow.
So
That is
yeah, the Black Child Book Fair was something that I came up with after noticing that within within CBAN, Chicago Black Authors Network, some of the events that we were going to, just happened to notice, hey man, these kids' books are really selling.
mhm.
they I have a couple of other um, people that are colleagues in CBAN that write for children, and everybody has good material. So a couple of events that we went to, we started noticing that our books were really, really selling, and we were very, happy with that. But me on the mindset of how can I make this bigger? How can I serve more people? Came up with the idea of an all black kids book fair. And so I called it the Black Child Book Fair. And so to test it out, 2019, I did the first one in Chicago. And it was very, very well received. We got a lot of people coming. And I mean, from the time we opened the doors to the time we closed the doors, people kept coming. It was like, well, Chicago's not the only city in America.
That part.
And so 2020, right before COVID hit, because if you remember, everything shut down in March of 2020.
Yep. Yep.
So in February of 2020, I did three cities. I did Chicago, St. Louis, and God, where else did we go? Chicago, St. Louis. It escapes me now. It's crazy. Anyway, we did three cities in Indianapolis. Love Indiana. So Chicago, Indianapolis, and St. Louis. And again, man, the support was insane. So I'm like, well, I think I'm on to something. But then here comes COVID, and the rest of my plans for 2020 are shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So as things opened up, I mean, well, the whole year 2020 goes by, but all that time, I'm planning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm planning and I'm networking with other cities and other authors, and I'm trying to make sure that hey, okay, we're shut down now, but this thing can't last forever.
Come on. Come on.
So 2021 comes and things start easing up right around springtime, and so we did Chicago in April. We did Louisville, Kentucky. We did Tulsa, Oklahoma. We did Philadelphia, Juneteenth. We were in Philadelphia. And we did Silver Spring, Maryland, and Charlotte, North Carolina. And so we're going to all these cities. I'm bringing Black authors from all over the country because, again, I'm using social media to network, to meet people, to make things happen. And so we went to all those cities. Not all of them were great, but some of them were really, really good. And we've got Memphis in November and Dallas in December.
I love Tennessee. Have you done the Southern Festival of Books in Nashville?
No.
I will definitely talk to you offline about that. Like that, we did that. I want to say it was. I know obviously it wasn't last year, so I want to say it was either 2018 or 2019. Like that is a excuse me, I got something in my throat. But anyway, that is a really good event to do in terms of networking. It's so many different types of people out there in that crowd. So and it's very economically feasible too. So if you're already traveling, excuse me, what is anyway, what's going on? But if you're already traveling to Tennessee, they normally have it in October. So I want to say it's already passed, but I'll definitely talk to you a little bit more about that. But yeah, I think that's awesome what it is that you're doing. Go ahead.
Thank you. But since we're talking about Nashville, let me make sure ain't nobody else going to hear this. They have an African street festival in September. That is a very good event to attend.
Okay.
Weather permitting. Weather permit, because it rained cats and dogs this past September, but people still came out. And yeah, for anybody that is a vendor or selling something, very well populated, very well attended.
That's what's up. So, what has been out of all the cities that you've gone to, and now I'm just talking about in the capacity of the Black Child Book Fair,
Mhm.
what was your favorite experience and why?
My favorite experience and why. Um, Man, I don't think anything can beat, of course, the first time you do something.
Mhm.
So the very first one here in Chicago was just a moment of joy and pride for me because man, people really came out, and it was very successful. I had a couple of authors just sell out, and that really made me know, again, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and
Mhm.
people are getting something positive from what I have created. So that is just, you can't beat that.
Absolutely not with a stick. If you guys are just tuning in, I am interviewing author and founder and creator, Darryl Harvey. And so we have talked about some of his books. He has about 6, 7, 8, 10 of them. No, we got a lot of them. We talked about
Well,
Chicago. How many you got?
12. I just published my
Oh, he
12th.
got about a dozen of them. He got a dozen. So he got a lot of them. So you guys can connect with him to get his books, whether you want some poetry books, some children's books. He got you. If you are an author and you want to know more about networking, you can also feel free to check out his organization, which is, we call it CBAN, Chicago Black Authors Network. And then if you are an author of a children's book, you will want to connect with him. It may be too late, I don't know, to connect with him for the remainder of this year. But as you guys have heard,
Hmm.
he goes across the country, and this is something that he's doing every year. So if you want to be a participant in that, then feel free to reach out to him for that. Now, for the last piece of the show, I'm just going to throw out some random questions. So you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Biggest lesson you learned through the pandemic?
Biggest lesson I learned through the pandemic. Oh man. Um, get it in writing.
Ooh.
Get it in writing. So I had an event planned for a city with with a school system, as a matter of fact. And everybody in the beginning, everybody is pumped and everybody wants to do it. And we're on a Zoom call and everybody's talking about what they're going to do and how they're going to do it, and nothing is in writing. And
Mhm.
so 3 days before the event, they call me up and cancel
Wow. Yep. Yep.
for no good, for
Just
no
because they
good
could.
reason.
Mhm.
Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. So
Mhm.
that would be the biggest lesson: get it in writing.
One thing, and you cannot repeat answers. One thing you will never do again is,
Mm. One thing I'll never do again. Oh gosh. And we're talking about in the,
anything. Anything. We've talked about the office stuff, so whatever you want to talk about. One thing you will never do again.
well, I think this is a lesson that applies across the board. It's kind of like, don't go back to somebody that's already burned you.
Ooh, that's good. Keep talking.
Yeah, because in this world, as big as the world is, of course, the world is small, and you'll see people again.
Mhm.
You know, and
Mhm.
you'll see people that you have done well with, and you'll see people that have burned you,
Mhm.
and they might try to, hey, let's try this again. Let's do it this way. Nah, didn't work the first time. Trust me, it ain't gonna work the second time.
Mhm.
Don't give somebody a second chance to burn you.
Okay. If there was one thing that you could tell your younger self, don't matter how young, so whether it's your 8 year old self, your 18-year old self, your 21-year old self, if there was one thing you could tell your younger self, what would that be?
Hmm. I would probably tell my younger self, don't take the break between your undergrad and your master's and go straight through.
Mhm.
I would probably tell myself that, and I would probably tell myself actually um, to work harder in regards to my writing when I was younger, because there were several years that passed between, let's say, my graduation out of undergrad before I actually published a book. There was probably over 10 years that went through, and I just was doing all this other stuff. and I had to, I guess, go through life, etc., and come back to the writing. And I wish that I would have stuck with it while I was young and I was kind of really into it, because who knows how much other stuff I would have accomplished in that span.
Gotcha. Gotcha. You sound a lot like me. Like I graduated my undergrad from in '01. I didn't do grad school until 10 years later, 2011. So a decade passes, you know, but
Hmm.
I will say this, I think that experience makes up for certain things too, right? So if you think about some of the things that you probably learned in life that maybe you would not have been in that particular place or that particular position had you been in school or something else. I am sure that there's probably a lesson, life lessons that you learned that were even more beneficial than what you could have learned in a classroom. Would you concur?
Yeah, life has a way of really teaching you some things, and it also has a way of spanking you on the butt when you do the wrong thing.
Like, don't you do this no more.
Yeah, and for some of us that are hard headed, we have to get more than one spanking.
Man, let me tell you something. Growing up, I don't know if I was actually as mischievous as the whoopings that I got warranted, but when I tell you, I was always in trouble for something. So when you talk about always look, you sometimes you just try to learn now. You just tell me, I tell people now, just tell me. When you tell me, I hear you the first time. I don't have to go back 5 times now. You know what I'm saying? Like I made enough of those mistakes when I was younger. And I would say that for me, it's like the song how they say experience is the best teacher. And so despite whatever schooling that I had, I still think that experience has been my greatest teacher.
Sure, sure. And well, again, that path, um, when I finally, because in high school, I got into poetry. Like my senior year of high school, I discovered poetry, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool." And so I went on to college and studied journalism, took a bunch of English courses, and I was writing kind of sort of all the time at that particular period in time. But as life happens, um, I got involved in social services. And if you know any social workers, they'll tell you once you get involved in social workers, and if you actually care about people, it's kind of like that Godfather movie. I keep trying to get out, but they keep pulling me back in, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, I never stopped writing poetry. It's just that I never, until many years later, decided had all this work, notebook of poems. What you gonna do with it? It's time to make that decision. If you Are you really gonna do something with this? And so I decided to do something with that. But again, through my career in social services, I met the kid that inspired me to write books for kids,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that has mutated on into the Black Child Book Fair.
Which is awesome. And it's even a greater reminder that whatever you're supposed to do, and so this isn't for you that I'm saying this is to the audience, to the listeners. There are some people who feel like I've gotten too old to walk in my purpose, or too much time has passed by to walk in my purpose. My belief is that whatever your purpose to do, before you leave this world, you are going to do it. And so, even though it may not happen when you initially think that it should or it could or whatever, like I believe that something is going to happen to what, because life is cyclical. So at some point, the opportunity will present itself again. And so you started out writing, and then, as you said, life happened. And so that now you end up being inspired to write. It may not have been the same poetry, but it still sparked that passion to write again. And I
Mhm.
think that it's awesome to also bring out the fact, I tell authors all the time, you don't have to feel as though that you have to be stuck in one genre. Like if you come out and you write a poetry book, that now I'm a poet, so all I can write is poetry. The fact
Right.
that you took the time to say, you know what, I got to call in, and not even just a call in. I loved how you said, I saw that there was a need. And so for me, I'm trying to feel what I don't see done, like fill in these holes, because I'm hearing these young boys, I'm hearing these things that's being said, and I'm looking and these things are not out. So let me kind of meet that need. Are there any other genres that you feel compelled to write or that you could see yourself writing in the future?
Yeah. So I have started. Uh, I started a novel. I started a comic book, and I started a play.
Wow.
And so I don't know how long it's going to take me to finish these. I'm kind of sort of giving myself a deadline of sometime next year of at least finishing the novel and the comic book. It's kind of funny that I'm having this interview with you right now. So I'm currently still working at 9 to 5 and writing and doing all my stuff. This is October. I told myself that I was going to actually quit my 9 to 5 at the end of the year and
Wow.
go and give myself at least one full year to try to do my writing career without any other interruptions. And so we are on the precipice of that.
Wow. So now I'm gonna hit you up December 31st. Hey Darryl, don't forget, don't forget to tell your boss I ain't coming back tomorrow. But that is so,
Yeah.
I want to really kind of touch on that really quickly. A lot of times people feel as though they can't do both, that they can't work a 9 to 5 and walk in their purpose. I hear you saying, well, you know what, for me, I want to let the 9 to 5 go. But did you feel that being able, because you still were able to operate in both gifts, if you will, you were still doing the 9 to 5 and C-Band and the Black Child Book Fair, touching other authors, connecting with other people, walking in that purpose. Like, do you feel as though that was as rewarding as it will be if, rather than if you were only given to your writing?
Well, um, I have been able to do all of that, but in order for the growth that I have planned for, anticipate, I need to be able to fully focus on the writing.
Mhm.
So I need to be able to focus on the writing. I need to be able to focus on um, scheduling these events in all these different cities. I need to be able to work on that without having to think about my deadlines for somebody else and
Mhm.
my notes that I got to write for somebody else. I got to
Mhm.
be able to full time in order
Mhm.
for the growth that I know can happen. I need to be able to concentrate on that. So that's why I'm making this move.
Well, that's what's up. I have a friend who pretty much said the same thing. Like, he's still working a 9 to 5, but also recently launched a business and was like, I'm now my mind is, different. Like, I'm tired of working for somebody else. I need this time that I'm, sewing over here for them to be able to grow my own stuff. Like, I'm ready to
Mhm.
launch and walk in my own stuff. And so, you already know I wish nothing but the best for what it is that you're doing. So you've already addressed the upcoming stuff. So we got the novel, the comic book, and the play that we're working on. Are any of them related in terms of genre, or are they all different genre?
Um, no, they're all different. Well, first off, um, yeah, it's it's a lot. Um, I'm sitting on right now a book for children, and wait a minute. So this is my latest.
Okay.
We don't have to fight. It's a book that talks about strategies for kids who are being bullied on how to stand up to their bullies.
Wow.
and this book is roughly 2 or 3 weeks old. And I'm participating in a festival this weekend, the South Shore Festival on 75th and Jeffrey. So I'll be there with this guy. And I'm sitting on two books that I'll probably publish in the next few months, a book of poetry and another children's book. Um, and the sci-fi, oh, wait a minute, wait. The play is definitely different. It's like nothing I've done before.
Mhm.
The novel, yeah, that's different as well. So none of these are what I've done before.
Mhm.
I'm stretching my legs.
See, and that's important. Also, I want to throw out there for people who are saying, well, I kind of got a few different ideas, but I don't know which way to go, so I'm not going to do anything. Like, understand that when you start writing, like a creative mind is hard to tame. Like, once you
Mhm.
have all of these thoughts and then you're going out, so now you got different experiences. So it opens up your mind to things that you may have never thought before, or you have perspectives that you may not have possessed before. And so, like, I tell people, I tell people all the time, I'm like you. I probably got about, well, let's just suffice it to say it's a lot of different stuff that's going on. Like, it may be years before it actually manifests, but you never know how much stuff a person is. For every project that you see, is probably about 5 projects that you don't see, right?
Right, right. So
So
like the novel and the comic book, they're more R-rated. So that definitely isn't a kid's book.
right, totally different audience.
Yeah, and so also, again, I've been talking about the Black Child Book Fair, which 2019 debuted one city in Chicago, 2023 cities. So far this year, we've done six, and there's going to be two more before the year is over. So that's eight. 2022, I'm looking at doubling that number.
Hmm. Hmm. That's awesome.
Beginning in Chicago in February.
Okay. Okay. Well, let me ask this. What are your last 2 cities that you have slated for this year?
This year, November 6th, we are in Memphis, Tennessee, at the Benjamin Hooks Central Library. We have partnered with the Benjamin Hooks Library, with the 100 Black Women of Memphis, and the Mid South Literacy Program. And December 4th, we're in Dallas, and we have partnered with the Delta Sigma Theta Alumni Chapter.
Oh, that sounds like that's gonna be fun. Like, anytime you're able to, I can't stand you. I can't stand you. Like, but anytime you can partner with like we get the fraternity sororities involved, like that's just gonna kind of be a whole nother look. So one last thing.
Can I
Go
just
ahead.
say just one
Go ahead.
thing?
Absolutely.
One thing that I have learned that has helped me tremendously uh, in trying to build a bigger audience and in other cities is partnering with other agencies that are in those cities already.
Mhm.
That is a tremendous help to my growth.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, it's almost what you left me is almost what I was about to ask for. So now you got to find something different to say. I was first of all, let me say this officially. I want to thank you so much because I know that you are in 50 different directions all at the same time. Hey, Miss Tracy, and I appreciate your candidness as you are always open, sharing, helping to encourage others. I truly appreciate that. And so, if you had some final words of encouragement that you could leave to our audience today, what would those words be?
Um, don't give up. Don't give up. Take your time and plan. But above all else, keep writing.
That's good.
Yeah, don't give up. It's things will get frustrating. Believe me, they'll get frustrating. I definitely know how that is, but don't give up. Just if you feel that you're in a time of frustration, sit back for a minute, let it breathe, then think about what you're really trying to accomplish, and then get back to it. Because if it's meant to be, it'll be. All you got to do is just sometimes you got to change your view on it. Sometimes it's not going to turn out the way exactly that you want it, but it'll happen if you stay persistent, keep on the grind.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Darryl. So, for all of you all who have tuned in, even if you're coming late, I do want to encourage you to be kind and rewind. This has been a very great, very insightful interview. We spent pretty much an hour talking to author Darryl Harvey, who is the founder of Chicago Black Authors Network, as well as the creator of Black Child Book Fair. And so, again, if you all want to connect with him on Facebook, you can do so just by putting in his name, Darryl Harvey, author. If you want to connect with him on Instagram, you can find him at Black Child Book Fair. If you guys are authors and you want to get in, maybe he still has some room for these remaining dates. And even if he doesn't, you just heard him say that for 2022, he's already slated to do a minimum of 16 different events. And so, if you are the author of a children's book and you're trying to get some exposure, then you guys may definitely want to connect with him in regards to that. And most of all, listen to what he said about not giving up. Regardless of, we said it earlier, doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter how many years ago you had the dream. Tracy is a part of this project that's called Seasoned, and they say you live your life, now live your dream, right? So you're never too old to start. You're never too old to walk in your purpose. And so I want to thank Darryl so much and just encourage you all to keep on going no matter what's going on. And again, if you have liked what it is that you heard, then I ask that you guys continue to tune in. Don't forget, tomorrow we will be doing what are we doing tomorrow? Tomorrow is Educated and Empowered. I had to remember real quick. So if you guys, if
Toneal,
yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
I don't know why I didn't think about this earlier. My website,
Yeah.
HarveyWritersGroup.com.
Okay. www.harveywritersgroup. Is it comma or?
.com. HarveyWritersGroup.com.
Okay, so we gonna definitely put that. We want to send y'all to that. That is in the comment section for you guys. So if you all want to connect with Darryl, there's his website right there in the comment section, www.harveywritersgroup.com. That's definitely a more efficient way that you can connect with him. But again, you can also connect with him on social media. And I do encourage you all to tune in again live at 5. I am basically live at 5 Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays. Always giving you guys something that is geared to educate and empower. So Mondays we do our APS day. So there's going to be aspects of entrepreneurship, something that's going to encourage you, empower you, educate you about writing, editing, publishing, marketing, some of that stuff. Tuesdays and Thursdays both is inspirational talk, but Tuesdays I'm talking with my ladies for I'm glad to be a woman. Thursdays we're talking with the men, powerful black men, and then on Fridays we do something totally random. And so tomorrow I will be talking about current events, people, places, and things. The person that I'll be discussing is Dave Chappelle. Many of you have seen his latest stand-up comedy act, and so we'll be talking about that. The place I'll be talking about is the Woman Evolve Conference that is in Dallas, Texas, happening in a few weeks. And then the thing that I'll be talking about is that Facebook outage that has such a global impact. So just talking about how we are affected by social media. And so I'm asking that you guys again tune in live at 5, connect with Darryl, go to his website, www.harveywriting group. Go ahead.
I just saw a comment by Celestine Cunningham in
Mm-hmm.
regards to writing about someone who's being bullied in a nursing home. I've never thought about doing that, but that's a very interesting topic. I'll look more into it.
Absolutely. So Celestine, definitely connect with Darryl because it is something that's done. Like bullying is not just toward children. Unfortunately, you have the elderly who are bullied, because many times they cannot stand up for themselves, especially those that may be suffering with dementia or Alzheimer's or things like that. So I think that may very well become a niche that you can hit. So, you guys, again, if you have any questions, because we're about to wrap it up, but connect with Darryl, connect with him, hit me up if you're not connected with him, and I can do a virtual introduction with you all. But we want to thank you all so much for all of your interaction, your questions, your comments, tagging folks. And if you haven't already, please tag somebody that you believe would benefit from this broadcast. Also, remember to hit the share button. But I want to thank my guest again, Darryl Harvey, for coming on to help to emphasize my point that, contrary to what society may believe, there are some Black men doing some powerful and positive things in and for our community. Thank you guys so much. And until next time, you guys stay inspired.